tools, basically you can see that the basic functionality is still here, the three main tools, and just a brief highlights on the additional devices supported by the Resource Explorer, which are the AM335, AM437 devices, as well as their development kits, such as the IDK and the EVM. And most of these updates to the Citara devices were added documentation. So you don't have example codes, but documentation, which still makes for a great one-stop shop for the information about these Citara devices. Back into the TI Cloud tools, Pinmux also added features now. The added AM437X device, which also makes it for a good added and one-stop shop for all things Citara. And what's interesting is the biggest change now is for the CCS Cloud, which you can tell here. It changed a little bit on its interface. You have now a flash button here, which is similar to the previous button here, the play button that was in the toolbar. And now we have a debug functionality, which we'll explore a little bit further. Also, the CCS Cloud supports the new multitasking Energia, which is quite interesting. So Energia came with for certain devices, selected devices, you have multitasking based on the TI RTOS real-time operating system, and we can import these and flash these using CCS Cloud now, and edit, of course, just create some projects with it. So basically you can simply add the project just like before, and you can simply flash the project just like before. It's a one single click. The other thing that you can actually see here is that the debug output can be filtered with some interesting nice buttons here. That's the status of the flashing. That's the serial port if you actually want to communicate with your target. And that's console I/O if you have printfs and stuff. And the gel is just the basic device initialization. So in this case, I can simply connect. Well, actually, I was already connected to my MSP432 Launchpad, and basically here I'm pressing the button on my on my board, and you can tell that the serial connection reacts to it. The idea here is that although this seems very similar to a basic Energia example, this actually is using as the description says, it's using the full TI RTOS with all this flexibility of multitasking. So that's definitely an interesting, a good thing to do. Now on to the next big thing, which will be the full debug capabilities as well. You can also, just like as a single click automation, you can simply click on the debug. It will build the code for you, and you will actually add, super nifty, the debugging views here. Basically, you can, as you can see, you can do full source code debugging, C source code debugging. That's where your code is halted, and you have the debug controls here. You can just put it to run freely. You can halt, and then you can step into functions, step over functions, or get out of the function that you just stepped into. So that's actually pretty interesting. Also, you have you can actually watch you can make type expressions or type or watch global variables. For instance, in this case, I can do a periods, which is an array of 4 elements. For instance, you can show them here. You can also set the type, the display type of the variable itself, of the contents of the variable itself. And basically what it shows here is basically the variable, its address in memory, and what is this type. And then once you expand, actually it will show you the location of each and every element of the array and the type that each element of the array is shown. You can also do this for structures and all that stuff, so you have a different sets of things. You can, so basically stepping, or you can also set another nice thing as well. You can also set breakpoints, several breakpoints. Oops, I guess I collapsed some piece of code here. Yes, you can set, unbelievable. You can set breakpoints here. You can do all sorts of things. So basically, when you set a breakpoint, you just run and it stops at the first one, and then the second, and the third, and then the fourth, and then now you can simply just step over this function, and then you can step into this function, and then it actually goes entirely to a new context, and you can step out of it, so you go back to your main code. Basically, that's the basic functionality of it. So I think that's it. You can put it to run. My out-of-box experience example is running now. I hope you enjoyed it, and watch out